Hey guys, good afternoon. It is Saturday, March 26th, a little after 1 Eastern. So let us get started with the weekly video. What you're looking at is a chart of QQQ on a monthly time frame. I know the monthly bar is still not complete, but with the last week left, few days left before the monthly bar takes its final shape. So it's coming out to be with a nice bottom wick here, like for the past few weeks, right, or months, actually multi-months. So that means there is good buying pressure here. So now once the April bar starts over, that can be a good swing opportunity, because what we can look for is initial weakness, and then once that bar goes from red to green, we can go long in anticipation of a higher price, or if it will go and try to test this long-term up channel that it broke down from, right, a couple of months ago. So that could be a play that we can look for. If I look into the weekly time frame, it is setting up nice. It did come out of this down channel, right, and we saw a little bit of follow through last week to this weekly bullish bar 2 weeks ago, and now we have closed above this one and this one, right. This it had a couple of touch points, so we kind of closed slightly above that. The volume is not that nice. I would have really liked some volume into this follow through week, but we'll see what happens, right? If it fails, or if it tries to target the next level up, which is 370.1, because we have multiple touch points sort of like that, and over here as well. So that can be a level to consider or target on the upside if market kind of behaves, right? In the daily time frame, still same sort of story. No bearish bar is seeing any downside follow through, right? We saw this, and I wouldn't call this one bearish, but still a pause bar, right? So the idea is that we did not see any downside follow through, and these are all nice big bullish trend bars, right? So that's nice. We'll see what happens early next week, if it wants to kind of take a little bit of sideways move or something. But as long as it's holding above, I'd say let's drill into a lower time frame, and let me bring my other levels. Just kind of helps you kind of visualize it better. So here's the uptrend line, sort of mini uptrend line. We're making higher lows and higher highs, so that's nice. As long as we are intraday above this channel, above this trend line, right, the pressure remains to the upside, which is good for bulls. And as soon as we break down, I would look the first level 354.9, and then monitor for further weakness if it goes below 350.2, right? That's also a psychological number, and that's also where sort of the structure starts breaking down towards the downside. On the upside, we still need to break above 360.7 with some nice volume, which was not there last Friday, but it nonetheless made a higher low. So we'll see early next week if it can get above this level, and then try to target on a higher time frame. I'd say 370 is a good upside target on further strength, right? If this really think this breaks out or something like that. Okay, let's look at Amazon. Let's get into a weekly. Actually, we can look at the monthly time frame as well. Good monthly bar, nice recovery. We broke down right here. All these bottom wicks on the monthly level shows good buying pressure. And now let's see if the next monthly bar opens up and it kind of shoots back up on the upside. That's how the setup indicates that it should do. Of course, we'll react according to what the price does, but we can always plan accordingly. If I look into the weekly time frame, it is back testing right now this trend line that it broke down from, right? We saw this breakdown, got back down, got the bounce from the same area, and now good bullish upside move. One thing to observe is that if I go into daily time frame, the last time it traded here, right in this area, it immediately got rejected and went down. This one, it couldn't even get all the way up, right? So this is right now is slightly encouraging, I would say, because it does seem like to be not a too perfect flag, but looks like in that range, right? You're not seeing any bearish bar, right? This was the one with the top wick, but immediately we saw buyers kick in, and we closed right where we opened on Thursday, and then Friday we saw a little bit of follow through to the upside with a bottom wick. So if I go into, let's say, I don't know, 30-minute time frame, here is the sort of the trend line that I can look for early in the next week for the price to get above, to play towards the top side, right? Because it's just holding nicely overall, Amazon. So the momentum remains on the upside. Pivot can be 32.60. As you can see, we are half of the time we have been above that level, and half of the time we have been below that level, right? So 32.60, 65 area, sort of the pivot. If it goes below that, that means it will break this intraday up channel as well, and then price is going weak. As long as we're above this mini downtrend line in the intraday basis right here, you see, you know, if we open somewhere low, pops back up, that's a good bullish scenario to play the chart, right? The levels are right here. Just did not want to show you that as of right now, but we'll use these channels, these price levels going forward. Let's take a quick look at Google as well. Let's look at monthly. Again, similar story, bottom wicks, buying pressure right here, right? So that's a good sign. Let's right over here. And if I go into weekly, similar sort of a story as well. Good follow through to the upside. The level for, I would say, bulls to get above is something like this. If we get a move above that, fail down, back test this trend line, and then move up, excellent scenario to play the bullish side, right? We'll see how it happens. The volume is not that great right now, which is a concern, but we'll see how that plays out. In the daily, similar kind of story, right? The pullback level, if it was to come down, would be something where it broke up out from, right? So this one right here, just above 2700, 2720. If it goes move down, that can be a level to see if it holds, or if it makes a higher low and then tries to go back up, but something like that, right? As long as it's holding 2720, this area right here, you know, cautiously bullish here. It looks nice. Okay, Apple. Everybody wants to look at that one. Let's look at the weekly time frame. Nice, really nice bounce from the bullish engulfing bar right at the uptrend line. We discussed that last video, weekly video, that it's a bullish engulfing and we'll look for a move up. So that's exactly what we got. Nice bullish stance. You know, there's this looks like this urgency to get back up, right? So that's why you have these bullish trend bars instead of one with the top wick or something like that. In the daily time frame, it is a little stretched, right? Definitely don't mind getting a little bit of pullback or something like that, but the area to watch would be right here, right through 177.2. That's where we have seen rejections from in the recent past. So we'll see how this one treats this level once it goes above that or gets rejected, you know, tries to consolidate here in the middle, something like that, and then goes back up, or if it moves down, right? But 177.2 is the area to keep under your radar when you're looking for Apple. Let's look at Tesla, everybody's favorite name. Monthly bar, nice bullish monthly bar, which has already gotten above its previous monthly high, so that's nice. Getting into a weekly time frame, I think it can move towards this higher frame downtrend line. The area to target initially is 1071 and further strength. This looks nice, right? I don't mind maybe a pause bar in a weekly time frame and then a move back up, but as long as it just kind of stays towards the top range of this week, that's nice. If I look at the daily, actually let's get into a 3D chart, right? So one bar is 3 days. Similar kind of story, just consolidating here towards the highs. If I look into daily, we have 2 inside days. So what that means is the price action is getting tight and it's getting ready to break on one side or the other. This is how I see it. Intraday downtrend line, intraday uptrend line, higher lows, lower highs, right? So that means price is getting tight. So it wants to go break out, or if it wants to break down, usually if it breaks out, it would be quick. And if it has to reverse, if it has to just sort of fail, right, it usually does quickly, and then we can immediately go short against the high of that particular bar and then just target the downside, right? Or the other opposite, if it fakes us out, if the breakout fakes us out on the one side. Because a lot of people, what mistake they do is they will get in. Let me bring the other levels. So what they will do is they will get in on the they will get on the breakout, and immediately if that breakout fails, they'll keep holding thinking that it will go back up, and then it keeps falling back down, and they just sort of keep on throwing the towel, keep on selling, and that adds further downside pressure and they incur losses. So if that was your setup, or if that is your setup that you're going to play the breakout, if it fails, take the loss. Okay, do not sit on it thinking that it will go back up or something. But from the looks of it, if I look at, let's say, 4-hourly view right here, it does look encouraging, because no bearish candle bar here in 4-hourly time frame is seeing any downside follow through. It's just holding this level nicely, right? This right here, we see bottom wicks, we see top wicks, but just since the higher time frame trend is on the upside, the logic says to stay with the trend, right? Of course, it can go either way, but we will just react based on how it acts Monday morning. Okay, so something to keep in mind. Square looking nice in a way that it is holding towards the top end of its recent range. If I look at the daily chart, it could be a sort of a flag, right? I mean, with this intraday downtrend line and no big bearish days, right? We have seen this nice upside once it broke out of this downtrend line, and now it's the similar downtrend line, right? If I look at a 30-minute time frame, you can see if I bring down the levels, it's a nice downward channel controlled. So the trade that I was looking for on Friday and even on Thursday was to get long above 138, something like that, right? Because that was the channel downtrend line. So I wanted to see a breakout above this 138 level, and then just kind of ride it higher, but it was not doing it. So on Friday, I wanted it to go down and then take out 138 level for me to get in. It did not do that, right? It just made a little bit of lower high above 136.2 and drop down. So this could be a bear flag and then another move down, but I want it to hold this 127 level, because that's where it initially broke out of, right here. So if it can take that out, get above this down channel, 136.2 can be a long trigger just to consider, because but before that happens, the chart is in the downside pressure, right? In a weekly time frame, if I just kind of quickly see, it's just last week was sort of a pause week, right? It was not completely bearish week. It did manage to stay above its recent breakout zone, right? This was all congestion zone. We have this breakout, and now we did not see a follow through. So now we'll see what happens in a lower time frame, if we can get back above this downtrend line in a mini channel, or if it breaks down to the downside, just kind of like that. NVDA. Weekly time frame, nice breakout to the upside and a decent follow through. We did manage to close towards the top end of its recent range, right? This was the weekly range, and now it's kind of closing right here just below 286. In a daily time frame, if I go, is it flagging or something? It's too early to say, but as long as it's holding this sort of let me show you, yeah, this up channel, right? That's a nice thing. The area to start worrying that this thing structure is breaking down would be a move below 255.8, right? Because that's where sort of this support line is. If we get back down right here, touch this trend line, back up, we'll look for this trend line right here, something like this, to be taken out, and then see if it can take out 286 for further move to the upside, right? If it does not, if it breaks down of this channel, that means it wants to kind of go weak and at least test this support, and then we'll see if it goes back up or no, and just we'll monitor for something else. But this is how it looks like right now, right? I know this chart looks busy, but right here. So we'll see what happens on Monday, where it opens, if it pops up back above 279.8, and then we can ride it higher, or if it fails and breaks down at this channel trend line. Okay, Let's look at Netflix. Daily, actually let's go to daily view. Yeah, so I know after earnings it broke down, but now it is sort of holding this recent move that it made right here. Like, it could be sort of not too cool of a flag, but it is holding, and every time it starts going down we see a bottom wick, so it's not breaking down. That's a good thing, right? If we look at 30-minute chart, here is the sort of the channel that it's trading in, right there. So if I were to trade it, definitely depending on how and where it opens on Monday or whatever, if it opens right here below 374 and it tries to take out this level, definitely that's a breakout attempt. But on a higher time frame, it really needs to get above this 377 to 381 area. That's where it kept on getting rejections from. So first of all, definitely you can play a breakout attempt and then monitor for continuation, or if it wants to break down below 370.8, that was the number right there, 370.8. if it breaks down from there, that was the intraday support on Friday, so that means it's getting weak and it wants to test the lower end of its recent range, and it is still within this controlled sideways downward channel kind of a thing, right? Let's take a look at two more maybe. Microsoft. Again, really don't trade that name that much, but I did last week. I know options we did, just small profits, didn't really kind of played out the way I wanted it to, but it's all right. It's just holding here right now in a nice daily pattern, in a way that you're not seeing any bearish follow through to any bar, right? Any red bar. Here's the weekly view. It did manage to close above, just like Amazon, just like other names, and actually QQQ as well, like these two touch points, even this one right here. So we'll see if it wants to back test this broken down channel, like something like let's go there, something like this. If it wants to come down, 298 is the level that I would consider that it has to hold for bulls to keep in control. If they cannot, then definitely we have this structure breaking down, and then it can go weak. But on the upside, it needs to regain 305.5, and then it can start creeping back towards 309 initially, and then we'll just monitor for continuation. But overall, the levels to consider for the breakout are definitely this 305.5, 306, and on the downside, I would say 297, right? Because that's like visually you can see the structure like that. Okay, let's look at one more. Shop. Let's start with the monthly view. What a move down, but in the past month, this March, it's closing right where it closed the previous month, this month of February, right? It closed right here, and now it broke down in March and then come back up, and now it's clearly trading right there, and we'll see if it goes red to green on a monthly basis. That can be a good sign for at least some sort of a swing. So here's the weekly view. We got this nice bullish bar to the upside and this inside week. Tough to trade, but we'll see how we can trade this one. If I go and bring my levels, something like that, it's just not a clear picture in terms of what it wants to do, right? It's just within this big bullish bar and just kind of trading sideways overall. So I don't really have a good setup to trade it off of. But on an intraday basis, if let's adjust this one right here. It needs to be something like that. So we'll see if it can manage to move above 682 first, right? Because that was the intraday resistance on Friday. If it can move above that, but the real level to test is 695, because that's where it kind of fell down from. And then we also have this mini channel downtrend lines meeting there. So once it can get above that, we can see a move easily towards 707, and then we'll see if it wants to go higher or if it wants to break down and test this support right here around 647. That would happen if it breaks down below 665. Kind of a breakout attempt. Or if you want to play a bounce here, if it hits the channel, support around 647, you can look for a quick bounce play, something like like this, and then we'll see what happens. But that's how you kind of plan your trade, and you trade according to that. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for watching this current week's update. And if you have any questions or comments, feedback, whatever, please do not hesitate to reach out. Okay. Thank you, and have a good rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.